Okay, so we have with us today Vanessa Alfonso from Brightline, and we're going to talk to her. We had hoped to do this live, it didn't work out that way, so you guys are watching the replay of it. But this is the first time in forever we've had a guest that we were physically in the same place at the same time. So this is really cool. And for everybody in the audience, we just got off of the Brightline. We came down from West Palm Beach to Miami, and we're sitting in the Brightline station in Miami, looking at the skyline, facing kind of toward the cruise port. What do you think of the trip, Cheryl?
It was wonderful. I really love Brightline. All our watchers know that I have trouble sitting still for a long time with back problems. That's common. And so I just love the space. I love the fact that if I wanted to bring my reclining wheelchair on the train, I could lay all the way back on the train.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
which
there's
would
a
be
lot of
really,
space.
really nice and the accessible space there. And I like that nobody had to help me get on and off the train. I just was able to do it myself with my scooter. And I just stayed on my scooter. I was comfortable like that, and that was fun.
A lot of people tell me it's a very smooth ride too. That's like something I get all the time, which I've never, I guess, thought of it that way. But
well, I think if I ride in the evening, it would make me sleepy because boats, when they sway a little bit, make me sleepy. And I think it has a little bit of movement to it, but it's much better than an airplane, which can have really, can have a lot of
no turbulence.
Yeah.
I was going to say, and we came off of a train ride 2 weeks ago, and I would say that this road smoother. I think that you guys have done a better job of grade, and plus I didn't notice going from switching as much as we did on the train we were on a couple of weeks ago. And that when they switch from one track to the other is when you really feel the motion. This seemed to be really, to me, it was almost seamless, as far as.
I like the stations too. The accessibility of the stations is great. I like and when you find the larger areas of the stations, they'll have the restrooms are a big deal with people in wheelchairs. If you're not a wheelchair user, you don't know that. But I like the larger restrooms that have no doors. I mean, you just go in without having to open a door until you get to your stall, and that makes life so much easier. It's unbelievable. So that was great, and the parking was very good. They do have the parking in West Palm. Yeah, West Palm.
I had to remember where we were.
Yeah, West Palm. On the ground floor to come out of the parking building, the doors opened up automatically. And it was right there. I mean, just right across the street. The cutouts are in the curbs, so that was very, very accessible.
Yeah, there's a lot of features in our stations that I guess even we take for granted, that I think are amazing for ADA accessibility. And you mentioned a lot of them, the elevators, the automatic doors, which I've never really thought of it that way, but it is that is a great option for people who do have ADA accessible devices, right? Bathrooms, you named those. The space in our hallways, and you'll see that in our coaches. We have a lot of space in all of our coaches, smart and premium. And then the bathrooms, even on board, you can easily get in without having to reach anything, flush the toilets, use the sinks, and everything is super accessible.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, we went up and toured the train that was static. You guys were filming the commercial on it, and so yeah, it was one of the things we noticed right away was the restrooms. All of that was really nice. We loved the Miami station, and obviously, I mean the Orlando station. Miami is very nice as well.
Yeah, one way you can measure accessibility is how many times, as someone with limitations, how many times do you have to ask for help? And there was only one door all day that I couldn't find another way around.
Yeah.
And that was really, really nice.
Yeah, no, I did have a comment, and I shared this in a tweet. Now I'll share it again. The problem I see with the accessible seating and the seat next to that person is if you think where the tray is, and my arms, I'm gonna have to grow longer arms. They just.
You were in my seat. That wasn't your seat.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
You were in my seat.
But no, the train was amazing. We had a great time. As we talk about these things, it's obvious that Brightline's put a lot of thought in to accessibility and trying to make everything work well. and he deserved commendation for that because so many people don't. I do have some questions about some things because we try to talk about all kinds of disabilities, and Cheryl and I, it's easy for us to measure the accessibility of, for mobility.
Yeah.
But what about for individuals that may have hearing problems? Is there something you guys do for them?
Yeah, so our stations are, as you said, our stations were designed from the beginning with ADA accessibility in mind. So that goes, from all of our signage to the colors, to the spaces and how they were designed. So for someone who maybe has a hearing impairment or even a vision impairment, our stations, in addition to making announcements, we also have signs that will let you know when your train is boarding, if it's on time, if it's delayed. So that's a great access point for someone who is, hearing impaired, visually impaired. We have the overhead announcements. But we also, when our guests are booking their tickets online, we encourage them during the booking process to let us know if they have any of these, ADA, they need help with whether it's their wheelchair or, they need help getting to the station or someone greeting them and taking them to the smart lounge or anything like that, because our staff can help. So, if you don't have someone accompanying you that day, and you're, you can't see, someone can guide you through the station and take you to the smart lounge and even take you onto the train and let you know, the process.
Yeah. Orientation.
Yes, exactly, your orientation. Yeah.
Well, that's very nice, because again, it's a challenge, especially for somebody that may have some kind of disability. They're traveling by themselves. Knowing that you have some support, from the staff is going to make a big difference for people. So what about individuals that may be dealing, a family member may have one of the ASD, maybe on the spectrum somewhere. Are there things that you guys do to help with that?
Well, we always we accommodate all of our guests. So again, the biggest the biggest advice I can give is to always just let us know in advance. If you have these needs, and we can easily accommodate you. But no, we welcome all types of people, anyone, regardless of your disability. We're here to connect everyone to every destination, right? And I don't think we've ever had any guests who has not been able, who we have not been able to accommodate. So yeah, there's always things. We have coloring books. Usually, a lot of families who have kids who do have those types of spectrum disabilities, they'll bring something to kind of entertain them, and we 100% allow that. Usually, we make an announcement, and you do hear that overhead, if you have a phone call or if you want to watch a movie, to please put your earbuds in. But obviously, if you have a kid on the spectrum, that's not going to be an option for you, and that's 100% okay,
Okay. Well, that's good. All right, so we talked a little bit about this. So passengers that have some kind of a disability, travel on the Brightline, I guess the key thing is for them to go ahead and try to make sure when they make the reservation, make sure that information's in the reservation.
Yep, exactly. So you can always put that note in your reservation, or you can contact guest services. You also have the option to go directly to guest services when you arrive. We do have wheelchairs here available if you don't bring one, although I know that's not usually the case. But we do have that option available. And again, like our staff is, you're never really alone in any space. There's always someone from our staff around that can help.
Okay, all right, that's very nice. What about any special requirements for people that might travel with, like a service animal?
So we definitely, allow service animals at no charge. You do have to, during the booking process, just make that note, and you get asked if you're bringing a pet and if they're a service animal. Provide the proper documentation, and just let us know in advance, and everything is totally fine. You come in with your service.
I'm gonna say there's plenty of leg room between the seats. The rows are not too close, so having a service animal, I know on an airplane I've seen some service animals that are like so cramped right up into that owner's legs.
Yeah.
And I think on the Brightline they would be quite comfortable and pleased with the space they get.
Okay, and you mentioned documentation. Is there something specific that they need in documentation?
So it's just, if there's a specific form that you need to show that this is your service animal, You would just show that when you before you go through security.
Okay, all right. Now, that did bring up another question. What about individuals that might travel with pets? Is that something you accommodate or not?
We do accommodate pets. They do have to be leashed, and we have certain protocols on size and weight. And then on the train, they do have to be in a carrier, a size carrier.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And so I know that pretty soon, I'm not going to ask you when because I know that's not an answer we have yet. But pretty soon, you guys are going to be going to Orlando.
Yeah.
So a little excited about that?
We're very excited. I know everyone's excited about it. We already have tickets on sale for September through January, but we are very soon going to make an announcement on our opening date. We are actually next week celebrating the completion of our construction, which is a big moment for Brightline and for connecting the state through rail. So this is a very historic moment for us and a big moment for Brightline, and it's the final step before we open. So we'll finish all of our testing and we're opening in the summer. So.
Oh, very nice. So are you going to drive a big golden spike?
It is a spike, not golden. It's going to be yellow, and we're not actually driving it in this week. It's already been put into place. This is more of our ceremony, so celebration, if you will.
I was going to say, because if it was golden spikes, some of our audience might want to go see if they can find it.
Yeah. There's no golden spike. There is none for us. But yes, that is where the tradition of this ceremony is stemming from. Yeah. We're actually remaking a very iconic photo of the transcontinental train connection, railroad connection from like 1869, I think it was.
Yeah, that sounds about right. A long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah. So for those of you that are rail fans, you'll get maybe a chance to see that video at some point in time. Besides Orlando, what are some of the other expansions that Brightline has on the table?
Yeah, so we have a few. The one in Florida that everyone talks about is from Orlando to Tampa. So we're working on that. We just got a couple of environmental pieces aligned for that expansion. But our big expansion that's outside of Florida is connecting Vegas to LA. And that project is going to be fully electric trains. They're going to go, like they're true high speed, 186, I think, miles per hour, and maybe higher. And then that project will begin construction this year. So that's going to be a very exciting.
Yeah, that's very exciting. But that's probably a 3 or 4 or 5 year project, something like that.
About 5 years, depending on how quickly we can get through, construction.
Yeah. Well, that's very cool. I can say that from our perspective, we really enjoyed both our tours of the station and we loved our ride today. It was really nice. You'll probably see us on Brightline every once in a while because it's I think it's a much better choice. May not be much faster for where we are because it's an hour to get to Orlando, but it's just a much more comfortable, much more enjoyable ride than trying to drive down 95 or the expressway into Miami and deal with traffic and all of that.
It's very relaxing. You get some of that time back. So what was your favorite part of taking the train?
I am a huge train fan. Anything associated with trains, I love. My grandfather was an engineer back in the steam engine days for Santa Fe. I had an uncle that was an engineer on Santa Fe, cousins that were dispatchers on Santa Fe. So I go way back, and I am one of these people that if I can get on a train, and I tell people from my perspective, especially long distance train rides are much more like cruising on land than they are any other form of transportation. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I think I like about, and I know this is one of the things I really like, is the process of traveling on a train is a much different pace than trying the catapult to get on an airline. You don't have 900 people queued up. You just don't have, there's so many things about train travel that's different and better. And, it's like we had in front of us, there was a family, I'm gonna think they were probably grandparents and their granddaughters is what I'm guessing. And they had a place where they could sit facing each other and and visit with the granddaughter. And the granddaughter she mess with us, look between the seats but those kinds of things you don't really get to do and don't enjoy on an airline. And we don't even want to talk about buses. We had some friends that used to schedule bus trips to places, and I'm like, no, you can just kill me now. I'm not getting on a bus and going for 4 days on a bus. When I was forward in the military, I used to go from like San Francisco back to Albuquerque on the bus because that was all I could afford. But no, so I love train travel. If I could, my two favorite ways of travel: cruise and train. And I'd be happy if I didn't have to travel any other way.
What about you, Cheryl?
Well, I was just, I had thought I lost it. We'll come back in a minute. About the train. I just love traveling on a train because it is easier and you can get up and move around comfortably. Getting up on a plane can be impossible, especially with a window seat. The train is much easier to get. I like the number of seats you have, 2 on each side, and I like the space. I didn't feel crowded. I also have a little bit claustrophobic, although I fly all the time. But you just don't feel that at all. It's like you're in a big open room almost. I mean, it's just, the higher ceilings. But it's just very, very comfortable and no stress about the traffic. Yeah. And we drove to, I don't know, in the future we'll take it from Orlando, or if we'll just come, when we came to West Palm, it was a pleasant drive right after then. And I know after that it's not.
No.
So this is great for us, and either way, either Orlando or West Palm, because even just for us to get to Orlando can be stressful. It's like an hour and a half of really bad traffic. But when we come to West Palm, it's like nothing, and then you just get on there, and then it was even easier.
Well, you guys have seen a lot of our stations now. Orlando, West Palm is very similar to Fort Lauderdale. Those two stations are very similar, and now Miami. So, what do you think? Like, how do you think this compares to the other stations?
Well, obviously Miami and Orlando are the flagship.
Yeah.
I thought West Palm was nice. It's small, but again, it's suitable for the.
Get the job done.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, there just wasn't a ton of people that were getting on or off there, so that worked really well. Premium lounge is nice in all of them. Though I got to say that Orlando's premium lounge wins with the robotic bartender. I mean, I'm not necessarily I'm not really a beer or wine guy, so if I get a mixed drink, and it remembers my mixed drink, every time, I can see myself being a frequent traveler.
Yeah, we don't have the automatic one here. Unfortunately, you do have to pull the lever here, but we will soon. If all goes well, we'll get them all tinted bars. Those make like a variety of cocktails too.
Yeah, that's what I heard. The only thing is now I would say that Royal Caribbean has a better one than you have. Yours is everything behind it is hidden. They have one that's got it's like a real robot that it pours it and it shakes.
We're gonna have to go and check out Royal Caribbean.
Yeah, but I haven't seen anything. It's Cheryl's comparing it to an airline. I would say this. The getting through security is much easier. Everything about it. For Cheryl going through TSA, like we're flying tomorrow to go to the Dominican Republic. Most of the time she has to get out of the chair, and then they give her a wooden cane, and she goes and stands in the machine, and then they still have to pat her down because she's mostly titanium, and then they got to wipe the chair, and it's just such an invasive, annoying process. I mean, I understand it, and I don't get upset about it, but it's an annoyance that you have to go through and deal with it. Whereas your station, she just rode right on in.
Through security.
Through
security, yeah.
So it still checks everything.
Yeah.
It still checks absolutely everything.
Yeah, but I mean, the process is just, it's not invasive at all. It is just so easy. It'd be really nice if the airlines could do that.
Eventually, they probably will do more.
Yeah. Luggage check was good. I didn't see anything I didn't like.
Oh no, everything was very easy, small.
You guys checked your luggage?
Yes. Yeah. 12 days of luggage.
Yeah.
I know what that's like.
Well, and she's pretty good. I said 2 big suitcases. She said 1 big, 1 small. And she got them all in there. So now I may find out that she has lots of clothes, and I have to wear what I've got on for 8 days. I don't know yet.
No, I really like the train. I love the Brightline. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful ride.
Well, I'm very happy you guys had a good experience.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be sitting here if we hadn't.
No. Or we'd be having a very different conversation.
Yeah.
No, it's very nice.
Yeah,
I look forward to doing it again.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't see anything that there was a challenge with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to having you guys back anytime.
Well, we will be back. Believe me.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's nice.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time
Thank you.
today,
Thank you,
Vanessa.
Ken, and thank you, Cheryl. It was very nice. Thank you for having me on here on your show.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting us.
I
do
hope
here.
it helps, people feel a little bit more confident taking trains to travel.
Yeah.
I think it